Určitě budete dobře znát formáty MP3, audioknihy, případně formáty pro elektronické čtečky, anebo samozřejmě Braillovo písmo jako takové. To jsou jen některé z výstupů webové služby, která dokáže převod těchto dokumentů, těchto formátů zajistit tak, aby i uživatelé se zrakovým postižením nebo poruchami čtení si mohli ten obsah jako takový na 100% užít. Zaměříme se na to, jak tato služba funguje. Přichází zástupci RoboBraille Outreach, Tanja Stevns a Lars Christensen. Tanja Stevns and Lars Christensen from Denmark, thank you very much for joining us here in Prague, taking part in the expo. Could you tell me, how many languages is RoboBraille able to convert? In how many languages is it able to work?
Well, for now, I think about 30, 35 languages. We're always adding to it, so it's a little hard to keep up with the numbers, but a lot of languages, including Czech.
Is Czech the most difficult language you are trying to handle, or not?
No, it's not. Czech is actually not that hard. We do have some issues with some Arabic symbols, so that's a little harder, but Czech is fairly good.
It's great to hear. You are actually the first one I have ever met who told me that Czech is not really difficult.
Well, it depends on what you compare it to, doesn't it? So.
Tanja, thank you very much. Please walk us through the app and walk us through the possibilities.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Tanja Stevns, as it says. I'm a special education teacher. I've been working 25 years to support people with print impairments. Today I have with me Lars Christensen. He's a computer scientist, and together we have been working to develop tools and technology that can support people with print impairments all over the world. Today we're going to talk about RoboBraille, mainly because we have had a project here going on for 3 years. I think if we do have some time, Lars is going to take us through some of the details at the very end of the presentation. But if we don't, we've had a lovely project here in the Czech Republic with a lot of partners who has helped us with transforming and adapting the RoboBraille service into Czech language. And you're going to hear some more about it just in a second, where Lars is going to introduce us. In Denmark, where we come from, we have full inclusion of those with impairments for lots of years, since 30 years, but we still rely heavily on technology in order to have full inclusion. So this is where RoboBraille has helped us out tremendously over the years, and we're very happy to also be able to present it and to let you have it here in the Czech Republic, and we hope that you will enjoy it just as much as we have. So just finally, we are also in the exhibition where we would absolutely want to talk to Mr. Hector from Microsoft, because that was really amazing. And see us in booth 27. I'll now leave it to Lars to let you know more about the details of the RoboBraille service.
Well, thank you so much. Those were really two difficult presentations to follow, but I'll do my best. Basically, our intention with the RoboBraille service and our whole vision with the RoboBraille service was to create a place where people with or without disabilities could go, upload their documents, and decide for themselves how they wanted those documents converted. I'm saying that that was our intention, it was our vision, it was also what we did. And today, RoboBraille is being used as a self-service solution to produce material in alternate formats, but it's also being used as a production tool for people who are producing on behalf of somebody else. In the service currently, we have 5 main workflows. First of all, you can use RoboBraille to convert documents into MP3 audio files. It's a great format. It's well known to most users, and most users will have some kind of device that is capable of playing back an MP3 audio file. It's also a great format if you want to read or study when you're commuting or when you're doing your workouts. The downside with MP3, as you probably know, is that it can be very difficult to find your way around an MP3 audio file. So if it's important for you to be able to find a particular page or go to a certain chapter, then MP3 may not be great for that. So for that reason, we also support what we call structured audiobooks. And there are a couple of different formats in use at the moment. The traditional format for structured audiobooks is a format called DAISY. That's a disability type format that dates back to the late 1980s, where it was developed to support people with print impairments. It is fortunately being superseded these days with a mainstream format, just in the form of an ebook with a media overlay on top. But in terms of functionality, they do pretty much the same thing. In a structured audiobook, you have the text, the audio, those two things are synchronized, so we can highlight as we go along in reading back the contents to the reader. And you can use the service to produce either of these two structured audiobook formats. The third workflow you can use to convert your documents into reflowable ebooks. And ebooks are by nature reflowable. That means that you can scale them up without breaking the margins. You can substitute the fonts to find font faces that may be easier to recognize on an individual level. For instance, if you are dyslexic or low vision, you can work with the color combinations and the contrast to find the best match of the background color and foreground color, again, on an individual level. So in many ways, we see ebooks, just plain ebooks, as a way of doing individualized large print, and they can really be used as a great accommodation for people both with dyslexia and with low vision. There are a number of different formats in use at the moment for reflowable ebooks, and we support all the popular formats. The fourth workflow of the service you can use to convert your documents into digital Braille books that can then subsequently be embossed on a Braille embosser. They can be shown on a Braille display or loaded onto a Braille note taker. And then in our fifth and final workflow, this is probably the most important workflow we have. We call it our accessibility workflow, and this is where you can convert otherwise inaccessible documents or tricky documents into something that is more accessible or easier to work with. So to give you some examples of what that could be, this is where you can convert image-only PDF documents, maybe something you find on the internet, maybe something that is sent to you, maybe something you create yourself by scanning a document. We also have many users who are using the camera function of their smartphone to digitize papers. Then they'll end up with a sequence of JPEG pictures that they can then upload to the service and have converted into something that is more useful for them. An example of a tricky document could be a PowerPoint presentation. Many visually impaired users, they find PowerPoint very, very difficult to work with, especially those PowerPoints with handout notes on them. So we do have a number of conversion options available, especially for that. Tanya did talk a bit about language support in the introduction. We do have support for quite a few languages in here. We do support all the major European languages, many of the smaller European languages. We're even looking into supporting some of the tiny languages as well. We recently added support for Welsh to the service. We're currently looking into an Irish solution. And amongst the supported languages, of course, is the Czech language. We also have support for American English, Latin American Spanish. We support Arabic English bilingual. We support Russian, the 3 Chinese languages, Korean, Japanese, and a few languages beyond that. So there's really a lot of language support in the service. Our whole reasoning behind the service and the reasons why we believe it's a good idea is really that it supports independence and self-sufficiency of people with disabilities. And that way, we believe that we are contributing somewhat towards supporting inclusion in mainstream environments, such as mainstream education, which is where we do most of our work, but also subsequently on the labor market, and of course, also in terms of social inclusion. What it really boils down to, we believe, for the individual is first and foremost availability. This is a tool where we have taken a number of well-known technologies that exist and are being used. We have put them in one place. We have added a very, very easy-to-use user interface around it and a number of automated workflows so that you don't need to be an expert when doing this. So availability is very, very important. Privacy is another important thing. Just because you have a disability doesn't necessarily mean that you want to share what you're reading with others. So using the service, you can actually keep your privacy and not be relying on other people to convert your documents on behalf of you. You can use the service to convert documents into whatever format is suitable for you in your particular situation, and that format may not be the same depending on whether you want to read when you're commuting or whether you are engaged in more in-depth studying activities, for instance. there is what we call a positive cost implication of using the service. By that we mean that for all the different output formats that we're producing, we've managed to find free apps and free applications that you can use to read all the different formats on whatever hardware you have already. So our users come in all sizes and shapes. Our main users will be those with disabilities, meaning people who are blind, partially sighted, have a reading impairment, a learning disorder, a cognitive disability, a motor deficiency, a concussion, anything like that that requires them to need access to material in alternate formats. We're also seeing, as I mentioned, people who are producing material on behalf of somebody else, alt media professionals, staff members at universities, rehabilitation workers, student workers, and so on. And then there are lots of other types of users who do not necessarily consider themselves as being people with disabilities. One big area when we look in education are students with poor reading skills, but maybe they don't qualify into the official programs, or maybe they don't want to be in the official dyslexia programs because they don't want to be branded as being somebody with a disability. But of course they can use the service. And then lots of mainstream types of users are using the service. It could be foreign language learners, it could be people with poor language skills who need help when reading, and so on. So there are many different users of the service. If you want to try out RoboBraille, you simply need to visit robobraille.org, and then there will be a banner of flags at the top of the site, and you can use that to select your preferred interface language. One of the things that we have done in the project that Tanya mentioned is that we have created an entire e-learning course that goes through everything there is to know about the RoboBraille service. It's freely available, and you can find it on the RoboBraille website. There's an introduction to the RoboBraille service, and then there are modules on all the different functions that you can find within the service. One of the final things that we're going to be doing with the e-learning course in our project here in the Czech Republic is to make sure that there's a localized version that is subtitled and localized to the Czech language, and that will be published also on the website shortly. As Tanya mentioned, we are here mainly because of a 3-year grant we got from the Velux Foundations, which is a set of very large foundations in Denmark. This project follows similar projects that we have done in Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary, Poland, also in Greenland, rolling out in Eastern and Central Europe. It is coordinated by RoboBraille Outreach, and as Tanya mentioned, we are doing this in collaboration with a lot of local partners, both here in the Czech Republic and also in Slovakia. What the project is really all about is localizing the RoboBraille service to make sure that we support the Czech language, both in terms of recognizing characters, in terms of being able to render the documents in the Czech language, in Braille, in audio, and so on. We also have a complementary digital library, a companion of RoboBraille that we have localized, and we're looking into various possibilities of setting up versions of this library at the moment. It is about creating and localizing this e-learning course, and then about disseminating information about the availability and possibilities of the service amongst educational institutions, libraries, disability organizations, rehabilitation centers, and so on. And that is the phase that we're in at the moment. If you are interested as an institution to have us come to you and present the service and explain how you might be able to take advantage of it, you just need to contact us, and we'll be happy to find ways of making that happen. As Tanya mentioned, we are in the exhibition. Please come and see us in booth 27, and we'll enjoy meeting you there. Okay, so thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Chcete se na cokoliv zeptat? Máte jakýkoliv dotaz právě k tomuto tématu, k této webové stránce? I'd like to know, how many users do you have on the website?
Millions and millions.
Millions and millions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea how many of them are coming from the Czech Republic?
No. No, we don't. I can't provide you with an actual number because due to regulation and also due to the fact that we like the privacy that you can have by using the service, we're not monitoring on the individual basis. However, we are assuming that people who have a C set on the back of their emails when they're sending things off to the servers might be from the Czech Republic. So in that way, we know that we have users here in the Czech Republic, but we don't know who they are, and we don't know how many, as we are not counting them. So.
Thank you very much, and please keep going with the great work. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much.